Hello everyone, I thought I would come on here and make a video that I have been wanting to do, and I've noticed different shifts and changes and stuff, and I just want to be a help and a blessing to those of you who watch my channel, um, and that is on the topic of adapting and adjusting to things that change in life, and just here recently I've noticed a lot of things have been changing, and not just for me personally but for a lot of people, and just the things happening with the different planets, with Taurus going or yeah, Taurus and Uranus, and how it's going to affect us for the next 7 years or 8+ years. And I just feel like it's important for each of us to prepare for those times, and just in general, not so much live in the future but live in the now. And I think that's been very difficult for me, for a lot of people, because we want to get to the next thing, we want to get to something more comfortable and suiting in our life, but it just feels like it's a challenge. And I feel like it's important at this time to focus on um, ultimately what makes you happy in life. Ultimately, as a collective base, what is the best thing for each of us as a whole, as a collective. And I think people forget that. I think people, there's nothing wrong with focusing on yourself and your growth and expanding in your life, but I feel like it's important to be very conscious of people around you who you associate, and it can go either way when it comes to relationships, when it comes to friends, when it comes to people, in your workplace. I just think it's important, and something that I'm coming to terms with is we're all having to surrender at this time when it comes to things in our life that aren't working, that are really testing us and getting us to a place of changing things that we don't feel comfortable with, or that we don't like about ourselves, and we don't like about things surrounding us. So I just feel like it's important to remember during this time and the different changes that happen in our life, that to be conscious of yourself, your energy, and where it goes, um, who you associate with, people in general, because I feel like, not getting too much into detail, I just feel like it's important who you associate with. It's important um, who's close to you, because you never know what is affecting each of us, and you don't know what is affecting other people. So I just feel like it's important to be very cautious of your energy and where is it going. Trying to think what else I was gonna say. Um, I feel like a lot of us are having a hard time with changes. And some of us, we don't like change. Some of us get scared of change. But I feel like it's important to mention that, when things happen in your life, when changes happen in your life, you have to let go of your ideas. And I feel like a lot of people, what they struggle with is they're just so set on what life used to be. They're so set on, what could be, that they're not really focusing on what's happening now. And, for me, that's a struggle in itself, because I want to get to the next thing, like I said in the beginning. But I feel like, if we focus on um, the set goals that we have now and what we want to succeed in our life, I feel like things would be a lot better, instead of just focusing on, you know, what's going to happen in 5+ years. But again, I feel like a lot of people, just what I've been noticing, what I've been observing, in my own life, I feel like a lot of people are resisting change. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying it's important to realize that we are evolving, we are growing, we are changing as humans, as species. So it's important to understand, when things come up, that we have to evolve. And some of those changes are what we believe in. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, or some people like, I'm stuck in my belief system or my religion or whatever, I'm sticking to what I believe. But sometimes if you open your heart just a little bit to understand that there's so much more to life than what you believe. There's so much more than to what you've always thought things were. And that's something that we all have to face on our own. We all have to take inventory on what we can expand on our life. Even for me, things that we thought 10 years ago may have not been what we believe now, or things that we believed or kind of were nervous about, we take on the belief that it's true to us. I'm not telling everyone to believe a certain way, but I just feel like it's important, if there's no growth in something, why keep at it? And I think a lot of things, and I don't want to get too drastic in it, I feel like a lot of people aren't open to the fact that what they believe could be false in some way. I'm not saying in everything. I'm just saying it's important to look at your belief systems and what matches you and what could you evolve more into that could benefit you long term. And I feel like when it comes to, whatever you want to call it, like religion, when it comes to politics, we have to get to a place that we are okay with things happening. Whether inside, it doesn't go along with what we believe, whether it comes to, certain things in politics, changes there. When it comes to those things that we consider, in some way bigot, we have to change the way we think. And I'm not saying, if you don't believe the way that I do, then you're doomed. But I just feel like a lot of us gear towards what we always know, and we're going to stick by that, and we won't open our heart to the world. We won't open our heart to the belief that what if what we believe is hurting those in some way. And, I don't want to get too long drawn out with that thought, but just think, whatever you are so strong in, what if it's hurting people? And I'm not saying that, in any disrespect. I'm just saying whether it's your belief systems. And I just feel like we need to balance things out, because I just feel like with some people, they believe a certain way. They're set on one thing that it affects people in a negative way. And I'm not saying, what you believe is wrong. I'm just saying sometimes we have to let go of our ego. We have to let go of our pride in what we believe and open our heart a little bit so people can feel safe to talk about anything that they feel like talking about. And I just feel like a lot of us, even me, I've done this, so I'm at fault just as anybody, I believe so strongly on something that I couldn't open my heart to anything. I mean, even, for example, even before I became into paganism, I always looked at the opposite end of the stick and realized, if I was that person that believed that, how would I want to be treated? And I just feel like that's a missing element into the world that we live in. We're not placing our shoes in another. I feel like a lot of times, I think I said in my previous previous video that when it comes to either side of religion, you know, there's respect for one, but not the other. And I just feel like it's important, whether it's something you believe strongly or you see in other people what they believe is strongly against your belief. I feel like if we are going to survive the next 10 years or 7 years, like I said about Uranus going into Taurus, you know, I feel like we have to step aside of what we believe as is right and virtuous and our morals, and open our heart to accepting to the fact that, you know, it doesn't matter where you believe. When it comes to evolving, I feel like it's important to understand that, and if we're going to get along, whether I believe in something you don't believe and we're at odds, we have to come to terms with respect. And I feel like that's missing, because I've been there. I've been there on the end of the stick where, you know, I believe different than this person, but I didn't give them respect. And I feel like if you're going to evolve, if you're going to grow as a person, you need to learn to respect people and give that almost sacred space for another to come in, that they can open up to you, even if it's something that you don't agree. You know, whether it comes to politics, whether it comes to religion, I just think if we open our heart just a little bit for people, I feel like things will go a lot smoother. Because I just feel like, you know, with different groups or different religions, it's easy to look at what we believe and shun everybody else because they don't believe that, which it's very wrong to me. You know, I'm not trying to get too personal with that, but I just feel like, you know, it doesn't matter where you believe. You know, if, let's say, a catastrophe happened. I've seen a video where, you know, a Jew and a Muslim, they had to depend on each other to survive. They had to depend on getting through. I think there was a flood that happened or some catastrophe that happened, and they had to depend on each other to survive, or they're just going to die. And so that's what I'm getting at is, you know, it doesn't matter what your color is, what your race is, what your religion is. I just feel like people need to understand that if we as society and we as humans and species are going to evolve, we have to learn to get along. We have to learn to understand that, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I believe. You know, do we respect each other? Do we care about each other? Do we love each other? And, you know, so many people are so easy to judge. So many people are easy to assume things or jump the gun because they don't take research and understanding what the other person is coming from or what they believe. And it's so easy to get wrapped up into that we lose people. We lose relationship. We lose bonds. We lose things that matter because of our belief system. Anyways, I didn't want to get too much graphic in that, but I just feel like, you know, it's a time to surrender, you know, our ego, our pride, our way of thinking, and understand that if there's ever going to be peace in the world, if there's ever going to be harmony in the world, we have to put aside our differences for the sake of humanity, for the sake of change in our life, because it's not going to work. If you think that whatever you believe is the result of your happiness or result of feeling comfortable, because believe me, there's going to be uncomfortable situations that you have to be involved with, or you don't want to be involved with, but you're going to have to deal with. And I just feel like the more you resist change, the worse it's going to get. And I've learned that in my life. You know, you can't resist things. You can't, because then you start feeling like you're always hitting against a brick wall, but it's always going to come up. You know what I mean? Things are always going to come up. And, you know, it's up to you as you face tomorrow, as you face the unknown of life. It's up to you how you're going to survive. You know, are you going to willingly surrender to change of things that may be uncomfortable, just so you can get along with people, just so you can feel peace. And I'm not saying, compromise where you believe. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, when it comes to people and their different beliefs, I just feel like it's important to choose to accept people for who they are, not for what you want them to be, and to truly understand where they're coming from and be willing to listen. Be willing to open your heart just a little bit so that people can trust you, so people can feel open and not feel like they can't talk to you or come to you and talk to you. So, anyways, I hope in some way this, was a blessing, was an encouragement to people out there who watch my channel. And I just wish you all the best. Bye bye.